So, good day everyone. I am Jamilyn Cortez from Social Studies 4A, and I'll be the reporter for Chapter 11 under subtopic C, which is choosing Jose Rizal as our national hero and symbol. So, for our main focus, in this chapter, it discusses the historical circumstances, the role of Americans in promoting Rizal, the qualities that made him an outstanding leader, and the continuing significance of his life and works. And for our scope, so this lesson covers first, what is a national hero and a national symbol? Next, historical background of Rizal selection. Third is important personalities and institutions. And next is Rizal's qualification as a hero. Next is different interpretations and controversies. And lastly, Rizal's contemporary relevance. So for our central question, why was Jose Rizal chosen as the Philippine national hero, and what makes him a lasting symbol of Filipino nationalism? And for our lesson objectives is at the end of the lesson, ulit. So now let's talk about national hero. So when we say national hero, these are the person recognized for their exemptional contributions to the nation, demonstrate patriotism, leadership, and selfless service, and inspire national identity and unity, and serve as a model of courage and sacrifice. So just basically, ito yung mga tao na nagkaroon talaga ng mahalaga at malaking ambag for their country. And just like Dr. Jose Rizal, no, si Dr. Jose Rizal is isa siya sa nagkaroon ng mahalagang contributions, no, sa ating bansa. And next is national symbol. So kapag sinabi naman nating national symbol, it represent a country's identity, history, ideals, and values, reflect the nation's culture and aspirations, serves as a symbol of unity and patriotism. So, example is yung ating national anthem. National anthem is yung Lupang Hinirang, 'di ba? Isa yung example ng national symbol, and also the Philippine flag. Isa din yung example ng national symbol, our national flag. And examples of values represented by Rizal is first is the patriotism, which is kapag sinabi natin patriotism is just like mahal mo yung country mo, and you're willing, no, na sumunod dun sa mga rules na meron yung country mo, and you really care for your country. And when we say nationalism naman, ito yung you love your country and you're willing to defend for your country. So willing mong ipaglaban, no, yung country mo. And next is the education and unity. Then lastly is responsible citizenship. And next, let's talk about historical background of Rizal's selection. So, during Spanish colonial period, no, yung conditions ng mga Filipino during that time na nararanasan nila is first the discrimination, political inequality, excessive taxation, abuse of power, and social injustice. So, ano naman yung naging response, no, ni Dr. Jose Rizal? So, Rizal's response is first, pursued higher education in Spain. So, nag-aral siya sa Spain. And next is advocated peaceful reforms, no? Just like yung kanyang mga novels and yung kanyang mga essays. And promoted education and awakened national consciousness. So, ginising niya, no, yung mga Filipino, and encourage unity among Filipinos. So, in-encourage niya using yung kanyang mga writings, no, yung mga Filipino na magsama-sama, and gumising sa gumising sa kanilang situation. Next, Rizal's execution, and recognition. So, si Rizal is na-execute siya sa noong December 30, 1896 sa Bagong Bayan, and mas kilala ito ngayon na Rizal Park. And si Rizal, he became a martyr of Philippine nationalism and inspired Filipinos to continue the struggle for freedom. So, na-inspired yung mga Filipinos because of Rizal na ipagpatuloy yung paglaban nila, 'di ba, para sa kanilang kalayaan. And next is recognition during the American period. So, during American period, promoted as a peaceful reformer si Jose Rizal and gained a wider national recognition. So, Dr. Jose P. Rizal is a Filipino nationalist, writer, and novelist, physician, reform advocate, leader of the propaganda movement. Then next, let's talk about people who shape Rizal's legacy. So first is si Emilio Aguinaldo. So si Emilio Aguinaldo is siya yung nag-initiate ng first Rizal Day commemoration in 1898. And then si Andres Bonifacio naman, siya naman yung nag-recognize he recognized Rizal as the inspiration for the Philippine Revolution. And next, si Teodoro Agoncillo naman, siya naman yung historian na nag-discuss ng role ni Rizal as a national hero. And si Renato Constantino naman is isa din siyang historian na kung saan nag-explain ng different reason behind Rizal recognition as the national hero. And next is si Antonio de Morga. Si Antonio de Morga naman is the author of Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, and later on is annotated by Rizal. And si Michael Shawshua naman is the historian cited in the textbook for Rizal contribution to Filipino nationalism. And si Ambeto Campo naman is isa din siyang historian na kung saan siya yung nag-compile ng letters ni Rizal. So now let's talk about the organizations, events, and laws honoring Rizal. So first is the La Solidaridad. So the La Solidaridad, ito yung newspaper na kung saan nag-publish si Rizal ng kanyang essay. And then next is the La Liga Filipina, which is the La Liga Filipina is isa siyang organization that founded by Rizal to promote unity and peaceful reforms. And next is every December 30 is Rizal Day, na kung saan it is the annual commemoration of Rizal martyrdom. And the Republic Act number 229, 1948 is ito naman yung in-establish nila para i-observe or properly observe yung araw ng December 30 or magkaroon ng properly observance of Rizal Day every December 30. So now let's talk about the Rizal's qualifications as a hero. So first, dedicated his knowledge and talents to the Filipino people. Next is promoted education and peaceful reforms and used literature to awaken Filipino nationalism. Next is to defend Philippine history and identity, and inspire patriotism, unity, and national consciousness. And next is sacrifice his life for the country. So, next is the Rizal major works. So, first is the Noli Me Tangere. So, the Noli Me Tangere exposed colonial abuses and corruption. So, Rizal showed the corruption and unfair treatment sa mga Filipino during the Spanish rule. And he wanted na makita ng mga Filipino yung problema. And also, he wanted to peacefully work for a change. And next is the El Filibusterismo the showed the consequence of injustice, and Rizal showed that if injustice continued and reform were ignored, it could lead to anger, to violence, and also in suffering. And essays on the indolence of the Filipino and the Philippines within a century. So next, let's talk about the other significant contributions of Dr. Jose Rizal. Next is the annotations of Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. It proved Filipinos already had culture, government, trade, and civilization. Next is the La Liga Filipina. So it encouraged unity, education, agriculture, commerce, and peaceful reform. So, next, let's talk about the historical interpretations of Rizal's recognition. Um, so, Teodoro Agoncillo and Renato Constantino are the historians na um, kung saan nag-provide sila ng different explanation for Rizal recognition as the national hero. So, madami kasing nag-o-offer ng different perspective in viewing Dr. Jose Rizal as the national hero of the Philippines. So, yung kay Teodoro Agoncillo is symbol of peaceful reform, since si Dr. Jose Rizal is since si Dr. Jose Rizal is gumamit talaga siya ng peaceful reform during that time and advocated assimilation and acceptable during the American period. The next is kay Renato Constantino is Americans promoted Rizal because Rizal had already died. No anti-American statements kasi nga more on Spanish rule pa during that time yung nababanggit dun sa yun during that time is more on sa Spanish pa yung mga writings no ni Dr. Jose Rizal, and already a symbol of a Spanish oppression. Then, for misconception, it is all common misconception that Jose Rizal was officially declared the Philippine national hero by law. So, laging iniisip na merong law na nagsasabi na si Dr. Jose Rizal is yung ating Philippine national hero. But in fact, walang law. There's no law officially declares Rizal as the Philippine national hero. Walang nagsasabi na walang batas na nagsasabing si Dr. Jose Rizal ay Philippine national hero. And nire-recognize siya for his contributions, patriotism, influence of Filipino nationalism, and enduring legacy. So, Rizal's teachings today, his teachings encourage Filipino value education, think critically, fight injustices peacefully, practice honesty and integrity, love the country, and participate in the nation building. So, it is very evident up to this day na yung mga teachings yung mga teachings from Dr. Jose Rizal is talagang nagagamit pa din siya hanggang ngayon. And Rizal relevance in modern Philippine society. So his ideals remain relevant in first is addressing corruption, misinformation, social inequality, and social division. And next, his vision promote unity, civic responsibility, and respect for human dignity, and also patriotism. So in summary, Rizal is widely recognized as the Philippine national hero. His writing awakened Filipino nationalism. He promoted peaceful reform through education. His um, recognition has different historical interpretations. His ideals continue to inspire responsible citizenship and nation building. So that will be all. Thank you for listening. So for our next topic, we will talk about Jose Rizal's life values, his perpetual legacy. So this lesson focuses on important values that Rizal demonstrate throughout his life. These values guided his decision, inspired his writings, and motivated him to fight for reforms in the Philippines. Even though Rizal died on December 30, 1896, at the age of 35, his values continue to inspire Filipino to become responsible citizens and to love their country. So, our main focus, this chapter examines the life values of Dr. Jose Rizal and explains how these values shape his life, writings, reform movements, and enduring legacy as the national hero of the Philippines. And for our scope, this lesson covers Rizal's core life values, Rizal's manifestation in his life and works, Rizal's influence on Philippine nationalism, relevance to Filipino identity and nation building. For our central question, how did how did Rizal's life values continue to influence Filipino identity, citizenship, and nation building today? And as we go through the lesson, we will see that Rizal values continue to guide Filipino in becoming patriotic, responsible, honest, and committed to serving the nation. And for our lesson objectives, at the end of the lesson, the students the students must be able to identify the core life values demonstrated by Jose Rizal throughout his life and works, explain how Rizal's life values influence his writings, reform ideas, and contributions to Philippine nationhood, sorry, evaluate the continuing relevance of Rizal's life values in promoting Filipino identity, responsible citizenship, and national and nationalism. So first, let's talk about life values. So, life values as a principle practiced in everyday life influence attitudes, relationship, and responsibilities reflected reflected through a person's words, actions, and a way of living. So, a life values is a principle and or beliefs that guides a person's actions, decisions, and behavior. They influenced how we treat others and fulfill our responsibilities and face life challenges. So a person's values are reflected in their words, actions, and a way of living. So for Rizal, these values became the foundation of everything he accomplished. So Rizal's core life values is first love of God, next is nationalism and patriotism, courage, honesty and integrity, love of fellow man, self-sacrifice, per- perseverance, and lastly is love of country. So, later on, mas madidiscuss pa natin sila ng mas malawak. So, now let's talk about Rizal's core life values. So first is love of parents. Rizal Rizal respected and loved his parents, especially his mother, who first taught him values and education. Next is charity. He helped the poor, treated patients, and without expecting payment, and shared his talent with others. The next is devotion to truth. Rizal always searched for truth and expose injustice through his writings. Then next is self-control. He remained disciplined and controlled his emotion even when facing a criticism and hardship. Then, next is self-direction. Rizal took responsibility for his own decision and continuously improved himself through education. The next is serenity. Despite many challenges, he remained calm and thoughtful before making decisions. The next is courtesy and politeness. Rizal was always respectful and humble, making him admired by people from different countries. The next is gratitude. He appreciated God's blessings, his family, and people who supported him. The next is noble conduct. Rizal always displayed good moral character and encouraged others to do the same. And lastly is the love for justice. He believed everyone deserved fairness and equal rights regardless of their social status. So now let's talk about people who shape Rizal values. So these three important greatly influence Rizal values. So first, si Doña Teodora Alonso. So si Doña Teodora Alonso is who taught him reading, discipline, and moral values. The next is si Francisco Mercado. Si Francisco Mercado is Rizal father who taught him hard work, responsibility, and honesty. And then next is Olympia Rizal. So si Olympia Rizal, his Olympia Rizal is sister ni Dr. Jose Rizal, who's determined Rizal to trust in God or trust in God's will. Then next is um, places that shape Rizal values. So first is Calamba, Laguna. Calamba, Laguna was Rizal hometown, where Rizal learned family values, discipline, and love for his country. The next is sa Madrid, Spain. Sa Madrid, Spain, Rizal became the place where he expanded his education and developed stronger nationalist ideas while observing democratic societies. Then next is let's talk about Rizal values reflected in his life. So courage and love, courage and love of country, return. So courage and love of country. Returned to the Philippines despite danger. So he returned to the Philippines despite danger because of courage and love of country. So bumalik siya ng Philippines kahit na possible siya na mamatay. And next is perseverance and self-sacrifice, endured exile and imprisonment. So he endured exile and imprisonment because of perseverance and self-sacrifice. Then next is nationalism and service. So he used his talents. He used his talents to serve Filipino people through through education and reform. The Rizal values. Next is Rizal values reflected in his work. So me Ultimo Adios reflected his love for a country, faith in God, and willingness to sacrifice for the Filipino people. So, um, Rizal showed his um, love of God, country, and willingness to sacrifice for the people or for the Filipino people na willing siyang mamatay para sa mga Pilipino. Then next is the Noli Me Tangere, reflected his love of country and devotion to truth by exposing social injustices. So, Noli Me Tangere exposed injustices, showing his devotion to truth. Then next is El Filibusterismo, showed his concern for justice and desired for reform. So El Filibusterismo expressed his desire for justice and meaningful reforms. So next, let's talk about Rizal's values in everyday life. So first, learned discipline from his family, remained humble while studying in Madrid, showed self-control in dealing with Pedro Paterno, stayed faithful to his principle despite challenges. So Rizal's practices values every day. He remained disciplined, humble, respectful, and faithful to his principle. His daily actions prove that values are not only are not only taught are not only taught but must also be lived. Then next, let's talk about Rizal influence on Philippine nationalism. So Rizal inspired Filipinos to develop national identity, defend their rights, value education, support peaceful reform, and practice moral responsibility. His ideas awakened nationalism that eventually led to the country's struggle for independence. So next, let's talk about Rizal martyrdom. So, Rizal executed at Bagong Bayan on December 30, 1896, became a symbol of courage and patriotism and inspired the nationalist movement. Although his life ended, his sacrifices inspired many Filipinos to continue fighting for freedom, and his martyrdom became a symbol of courage, patriotism, and love for country. So next let's talk about the common misconception. So Rizal lacked patriotism because he opposed armed revolution. So um, in fact, Rizal believed in peaceful reform, promoted education, defend truth, and encouraged national identity. And uh, Rizal believed that a lasting freedom could be achieved is through education, peaceful reforms, truth, and national unity. Next, now let's talk about why results still matters. So first, continue to inspire responsible citizenship, promote honesty, integrity, and patriotism, encourage compassion and perseverance, demonstrates the importance of self-discipline, guides Filipino in serving the nation. So Rizal values remain relevant today because they encourage honesty, integrity, patriotism, compassion, perseverance, and self-discipline, and also a responsible citizenship. These values help us become a better individual and contribute positively to society. Next, Rizal values in today's society promotes education and critical thinking, upholds truth and justice, encourage responsible citizenship, help address corruption and misinformation, inspires unity and social responsibility. So next, for summary and insight, Rizal's life demonstrate that true leadership begins with strong moral values and and personal discipline. His writings awakened Filipino nationalism and inspired generations to pursue freedom and justice. His sacrifice proved that genuine patriotism requires courage, integrity, and selfless service. Results enduring legacy continues to guide Filipino in building a united, democratic, and progressive nation. And that will be all. Thank you for listening.